My name is Michael Ejoor and I play the character Onome in To Kill a Monkey.
So that there's nothing there, I was just doing guy. I'm an actor and a director as well. I more recently featured in the next Netflix series by Kemi Adetiba, To Kill a Monkey. I play the character Inspector Onome, so that's probably where a lot of people would know me from. But the people who have followed my journey, thankfully, over the years know me from a multitude of projects.
How did you come into acting? Did you study acting, or you became an apprentice actor? I mean, that's the way some people got into the industry.
Yeah.
So, can you briefly tell us?
Okay, I really wish I had this story to tell that, when I was 1 year old, I knew I wanted to be an actor. Or that's not my reality. So I actually, I'm like Nigerians would call it, I'm an Ifiko. I love books. I have 2 first-class degrees. You know, I studied in the UK, University of Hertfordshire, and I bagged the first-class degree. Then I went on to London School of Economics and studied there. So I've always been that book one. But in 2016, in 2016, I had probably the hardest year of my life.
Why?
The relationship I was engaged, fell apart.
Okay.
I lost my job.
Oh my God.
I was the CEO of a not-for-profit and I lost my job. My mother was diagnosed with chronic kidney failure and she almost died. It was a crazy year. I was depressed. And then I had a friend who was doing a stage play, a musical, and he and I were very close at the time. So he just wanted to get me out of the house. So he said, there's this character that has 3 songs. You know, I said, but I don't act now. He said, but you sing very well, because I sing very well. You know, but if you notice, I didn't introduce myself as a singer because it's not my passion. But if I was to weigh my talents, weirdly, I sing better than I act. If you're in love with what you're in love with, you're in love with what you love. I love acting. So he was like, you sing very well. The songs are all that matter. So I came on board the project, and there was a day where the lead character, the male lead, wasn't available, and the director needed to rehearse that scene. So I was sitting down. They said, Michael, just hold the script and just do it. Let me just,
placeholder.
Let me have a feel. And I did the scene. And everyone started clapping, and I was like, I started clapping for the female as well. And she was like, Michael, they're not clapping for me, they're clapping for you. I said, really, that's what happened. What did I do? You know. And the director came up to me and said, did you really say you don't act? I said, no, I don't. He said, you are so talented. And that was pretty much it. Waje was the lead character. She's a musician. And she said to me, Michael, don't use this thing to play. And I went for an audition, I booked it. Went for my next audition, I booked it. Went for the 3rd audition, I booked it. And I said, okay.
If you say I'm good,
I'm good. Okay. And I do not regret it in the slightest. I'm really happy doing what I do.
That's interesting. So what was your first major, film? I mean, apart from that, I mean, how did you get into you?
Well, my first major film I went for an audition was for Tinsel. Tinsel is the longest running telenovela in Africa. Yeah, it's been on for years.
What's the name again?
Tinsel.
Okay. Yes. I think I know.
Tinsel has been on for yonkers, you know, and that was my first acting job, Tinsel.
So I went for the audition. Are you still a member of it, or
no? My character was on for a bit. There were talks to revive the character, but that was very new. That was the first job I had. You know, I auditioned, they liked it, so I did a few episodes. But years later, there were talks to bring me back on. But I feel like the story direction went in a different way, you know,
and you didn't like it.
No, it's just that I think
they decided.
Because the actor that I was supposed to be acting with had personal things, so they couldn't write around the story anymore. So they abandoned the storyline.
I mean, I'm a script writer, so I know
Yeah.
how these things work. And so now you got into these, and then you were enjoying it. So what would you say is the motivation to continue?
The motivation to
Yeah.
continue. So I feel, for me, I and I hope this doesn't make me sound proud. I'm quite good at a lot of things. I was doing sciences. I was succeeding. I did commerce. I was succeeding. I sing very well. I can dance to a certain degree. I'm able to hold my own in a business setting. I've been able to run a company. So I think at one point in my life I was very confused as to what I really wanted to do. And when I stumbled into acting, I get to do everything. I get to be a doctor. I get to be a lawyer. I get to be a mechanic. I get to be a pastor. I get to be anything I want. And I literally have to study the lives of these characters. So I get to live them, but on screen.
On screen.
So for me, it's me fulfilling a dream, because really and truly, if I wasn't acting, there's no how I can be a singer as well as a doctor, as well as a business. It's so, people think I'm a scatterbrain.
So that kind of allows you to be a jack of all trades.
It allows me
at different times.
Whatever I want to.
And in all these roles, you found fulfillment.
Yes.
So take me through how you prepare for a role as an actor.
So I'm a people watcher.
Okay.
As I sat down here when your team left to get the equipment, I was watching someone. There's a guy, and there was a certain way he was walking, and I literally said to myself, I'm going to walk like this in my next role, because I read the script, and the way he was walking was quite dominant, and the character that I'm about to play next week, he's very dominant, and I just looked at him and I said, I like the way this guy is walking. I'm going to do this. And that's how I literally am. I people watch, because you're a scriptwriter. Yes. You create characters. You don't create characters that have never, ever existed.
Yeah.
They are usually fashioned out of somewhere.
Yeah.
So I try to fashion characters out of somewhere. So I watch a lot. I do a lot of studying, but I also prepare a lot. When I first get a script, I don't act it out. I read it to get into their world. Then I create their world. I do something called a character bible. Their age, their upbringing, their occupation, their likes, their dislikes, what triggers them, what are their love languages, things like that, and temperament. So that's how I try and create them. So I'm not playing the same person over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting. I was actually thinking about the same thing when you talked about, yes, you're a writer, because when you create, part of what I tell my students, and I teach screenwriting, what I tell them is that they should observe, they should pay attention to mannerisms, to idiosyncrasies, to the way people behave, and then that little difference in observation, paying attention to that, can help them in creating a rounded character.
Yeah.
So I think I agree with you. But again, I know people prepare for things in different ways, and that's why I'm particularly interested in that. Now, you played a very major role in To Kill a Monkey. So take me through it. What did you think when you get that script? How did you get into it? And then you work with one of the best directors that we have around. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience in that?
Sure, definitely.
Show?
I've never worked so hard to get a part in my life.
That's interesting.
Never had to. I read so much, because it's Kenya, but the competition was fierce. There were about 1,000 people at the audition. I would say either 1,000, late hundreds, something like that.
Wow.
A lot of people showed. It was over 2 days. That was the first stage, was over 2 days. The second stage was 1 day, because they had whittled it down to so many number of people. And I'm not saying I'm the most talented person or whatever, but I guess it was my time. Because I even know there's some people that I saw at the audition that I've seen them before, and I felt like, oh, you're a fantastic actor. You definitely perform better than me. But I got the biggest role out of everybody who went for the open auditions. I woke up at 2:00 to get ready for a 9 a.m. audition. I was there
Wow.
at 3 a.m. You know, because I wanted to be one of the first people they see when they are strong and they're ready. I was there at 3 a.m. for a 9 a.m. audition. You know,
Wow.
and I was number 9 on the list.
On the list.
So that shows you only God knows when number 1 got there.
Yeah.
If I got there at 3 and I was
Yeah.
number 9. So I went in and I did the monologue, and then I was called for a callback, and at the callback I read about 12 times, 13 times. It was a lot of times.
Wow.
So when I got that call, it was such a sigh of relief, because I worked hard for that.
You wanted it.
Yeah,
You
I
desire-
really
you
did
desire
want
it, and you
I
felt you
desired
deserved
it,
it, yeah.
and I was so happy that I did it. I wouldn't trade that experience for the world.
That's interesting. So the character you played,
Mm-hmm.
do you like the character?
I did like the character, and I was endeared to the character for one reason, because I played a character called Inspector Onome.
Yeah.
My first name is Onome.
That's interesting.
Michael is my second name. But everybody, when I went to the UK, people kept asking me how to pronounce my name every 2 seconds. And then I said,
Leda
you know what,
Mama is
just
such
call...
a very easy
They-
name to,
yeah,
and a
but they call
beautiful
it
one
Onomi.
at that.
They kept calling
Okay.
me Onomi, and then they'll keep forgetting. So I'm just like, okay, just call me the English name Michael, so I can hear word. So many people started just calling me Michael. But you know, it was good to have this role and go with my birth name.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
So it was like it was created for you in
Yeah.
that sense.
me and the character definitely were far removed, because I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but if
No.
you watch it, you would understand when I say we're far
Far
removed.
removed, yeah.
We don't have a lot of similarities. For one, he eats a lot, and I don't eat that much. So, but he was always eating, you know, and he talks a lot. I don't talk a lot. You know, when in an interview setting, I would talk.
Yeah.
But in life, I'm not really very
Yeah.
talkative. You know, so there was differences, and I like that there were differences,
Mhm.
because, like I said, I don't like playing myself over and over again. I already get to be myself every day,
Every day.
so I want to be somebody else when I'm acting. So, as much as I drew some things from my
Your
personality,
personal, yeah.
I allowed room to create a different being.
Yeah. Well, you know, the playing an inspector means one thing. It means that you have to know a lot about, how typical cop behaves.
Yeah.
And if it's in a Nigerian setting,
Mhm.
how they're trained, their idiosyncrasies, their vices, and their strengths.
Yeah.
Now, I'm kind of wondering, have you ever been involved in, with cops before? Do you have a relative with a cop? I mean,
Yeah.
let me give you an example. My late father was a soldier. I grew up in the military barracks. And so that kind of gives me an insight into a whole lot of things about the military. For instance, when people condemn them, I know what they go through. I know what could have been motivation for them to be engaged. Of course, I'm not justifying any vices, but I'm just saying, any relation, any proximity to
Yes.
those.
Yeah. And you're asking me so many questions that are taking me back to the week where I shot To Kill a Monkey. And I'm loving it. It's such a nostalgic feeling. I have the video on my phone. I would show you after the interview where I went to my father and he prayed for me. I knelt down, he prayed for me, and then we went into me understanding it because he's in the military. So I tapped from there. That was my source.
That's
So
very, very
we even went
interesting
as
thing.
far as doing gun training, and I'm so grateful for my father. My father's my best friend. We're
good one.
5 and 6. I'm so sure he's tried to call me in the middle of this something because he called me earlier and I told him I would do something and I hadn't remembered. So he probably has called me right now, So, but I tapped into him. He taught me about gun training. He taught me about mannerisms. He taught me about quirks. He even gave me code words, cheat sheets, which I don't know if I should give you guys, but a cheat sheet, as to things that trigger people in the military, people in the police, things like that. So if I ever encounter something like that on screen, I should know I should be triggered. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my father went in depth, and I drew a lot from his experience.
And that helped you to be very authentic.
Definitely.
Because there is always a difference between when you have someone who
Definitely.
already belongs to the in group
Yeah.
and someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
So in other words, it becomes very, very real.
Yes.
You're not just role playing, you are the person you are playing.
Yes.
And I think that's a very, 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 very important thing. Because the military life, what a lot of people from outside don't know, it's a different kind of life,
Extreme.
different kind of codes.
Extreme.
And when those words are uttered, they know already